Hey, Jay here. We're out with our latest passion, and that's Dualsport bikes, because you can kind of do a bunch of everything. And we've done some other bikes. We've done some 366, 350 big bores. This time we found a good deal on a used that was fairly rough 450 EXC. And so it had a decent amount of hours on it, so we went ahead and rebuilt it and just put a standard Vertex piston in there, which does a lot of the OEM pistons for KTM. So we went ahead and put that in there. But as you can see, we got it looking really nice. So these bikes, this was a 6 days version, 2018, the France version. So it comes with billet clamps, the orange frame, a few other goodies, a little bit different rims and stuff, but we changed those out to the SRT rims anyway for this deal. So we kind of made this thing, we didn't want to do a whole lot. We really didn't do any other performance mods. Other than that, also smog delete kit for our close course competition use from Takomoto. We got that on there. And then a Vortex from Jamie at Twisted Development has a good map for the EXC. So that really opens this thing up. Took the air boot out and used the Euro air boot. We'll try to find a part number for that so we can have that listed out. And then everything else is a lot of Dualsport stuff to make it a little bit more friendly. The trim piece back here. SAR Off-Road makes really cool blinkers here that are tucked in. Up front, we have the Takomoto blinkers, which run on the forks, which are really trick. And then our headlight setup is really rad. We got the headlight setup, we got Ba Designs and Moto Minded put together this headlight setup, which is an XL80, extremely bright light with high beam, low beam. And Moto Minded has a bracket that goes behind here that you can see right here that moves the speedo up. You can actually see it and gives you way more room to mount up all your wiring nice and sano in there, which is really cool feature. SAR Off-Road makes all the pieces here. For any EXC guys, know that all this stuff kind of sucks. You stop, you leave your key on, your battery's dead in no time. So they have this key switch thing that now you just have one button that's a kill button and a start button, and you don't have to worry about your battery going dead. Also, you can run your clutch where you want, because this switch is so much trimmer, makes it way better. So now you can run the clutch in where it's supposed to be. It doesn't hit on there. Double take rear view mirrors are really nice because you can bolt it down here really solid with just a thumb screw here, and it's really solid. Enduro Engineering handguards. So this thing's really bulletproof through the trails. Enduro Engineering also does the radiator guards that we have up here, SCAR foot pegs. TM Designs does all our rear pieces for the chain block. Bulletproof Designs does the one for the swing arm. And for this model, we're running the KTM Power Parts skid plate that actually was on the bike. We got our Henson plates in here and a clutch cover. Stock clutch is really good on these bikes, so we really shouldn't have to change that stuff out very often. And so for the looks of this thing, we went with the UFO plastic, all orange, and we switched out the airbox in here was blue from the ISDE version. We switched that out to all orange from a factory edition back in 18. We could switch all that orange plastic out, which is really cool. We had the 2-stroke air filter cage as well with our uni filter. And then Decal Works made us some custom graphics to match, and we got a heavy duty Moto seat cover on here with some Kevlar in here, so it'll last a long time, and with it being all black, will look good a long time. FMF exhaust throughout with our spark arrestor in there, so we're good and legal. And then on those wheels, we got our Super Sprox chain and sprockets, and we're running a 1450 gearing, which we think is pretty good so far for most use. We're not going really high speeds on the road, but we have the Dunlop EN91 tires, which are 6-day tires that are DOT approved. So they actually are legal tires, which is the first time I've done a legal tire on a Dualsport build. So that's kind of cool. So this bike is for Dirt Rider magazine, obviously, as you can see right here. So we're going to see what Andrew Oldar, Dirt Rider guys, think of this thing, and we're going to have a little footage of them riding it and seeing what they think. Should be a pretty fun bike, and a lot of guys that are in the know kind of like this 450 better than a 500, especially opened up, because it feels a little bit less, you know, especially with these mods. Has all the good benefits of an SX or an XCF bike without some of that extra, you know, oomph. So we'll see what we think, and hopefully you enjoy. Okay, so Andrew Oldar with Dirt Rider's been riding this thing, and he's going to have a full story on it. We'll have a link in our story, which will be out after his story. So we'll have a link to his story there, and you can see the video that Spencer shot. It's a really cool, Spencer Owens, not my Spencer, other Spencer. So we'll have a link to that stuff. So first of all, what did you think of the bike? You've ridden my 366. That'd be a good comparison recently. So what do you think of this, knowing that it's a lot less money to build this versus the 366?
Yeah, I definitely think this, especially for how minimal engine modifications you made, I definitely feel like the amount of torque this bike puts out, and especially maybe for more of a vet rider who's not, revving the bike super high in as many places, I think that this would probably be the better overall package, and kind of getting more of a bang for your buck. The 366 was still awesome. I loved riding that bike, but I think maybe for somebody who's watching their money a little bit more, I think this might be a little more economical, but still, equally as awesome.
Yeah, so we were talking about it, and it's about another $2,000 to upgrade, roughly, to do the full mod, with the big bore, the cams, and porting to a 350 to make it this good. This thing's this good stock with just the Vortex added. So, and with an EXC, you're always going to have lots of bits that you want to do, like all the SAR off-road pieces, the headlight, all those types of things, and tricking out your blinkers and making it more uncorked and more trail worthy with all that kind of stuff. We're going to have a little footage right here of us riding this thing at night, so you can see how good this light works in low and high beam, that kind of stuff. So all these features are pretty cool. So I think it's nice to show some of that stuff at night. What'd you think of the tires, these EN91 tires?
I was thinking about that, especially when I first got out on the trails, and it's pretty dusty, it's pretty slick out there, and I was really impressed. The only reason I was thinking about it was because I remember looking at your parts list and thinking, oh, this is the first time I've ridden on these EN91s. So I was just kind of keeping it in mind, and yeah, I was super impressed. They were really hooking up, I was pleased with it. Didn't feel too much different from just a regular moto tire, especially for riding off road, and it's kind of slick, as I said, out here anyway. So and on the track it was hooking up good too. So I was impressed.
Excellent. So we're actually street legal on our tires, which is nice. So it's cool to have something that is legal like that for guys that are really concerned about that and want to have something that they will work well on the trail and on the asphalt, and I think we have that here. So I don't know what else to cover. What else overall you liked riding the bike? And I know you mentioned that you enjoyed it on the track and trail. We're in the middle of summer here. It hasn't rained in about 82 days or something, or more, something like that, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Feels like.
Yeah, it hasn't really rained much since the whole COVID thing started. So
back
somewhere.
in March.
Yeah. So what do you think overall? And what are some highlights for you?
Yeah, kind of like I was talking about earlier with the suspension, I was really impressed. As you mentioned, it hasn't rained in a while, but when it rains, it pours out here. And with the amount of rain, we get a lot of rain ruts, especially out here on the trails. And so you're coming into those things perpendicular to them, and when you hit them, you just kind of, or at least I just anticipate it's going to be a bit jarring on your feet, your ankles, and your lower legs, and that's just not the case with this bike. I was able to hit them fast, I was able to hit them slow, especially while we're doing photos and video. And that just wasn't the case. It was really plush, and it was just absorbed it really well. And the fork I was pleased with on the moto track too. It was great on the trails, which I was kind of anticipating it would be, because that's what it's more set up for, from what you were saying. But even on the track, there's some of the landings aren't super steep, and it's almost like you're flat landing. So I was anticipating it would kind of blow through the stroke and maybe bottom, but that wasn't the case. It had good hold up. Especially considering it's more of a trail-oriented setup.
Yeah, that's great. So I think we've built the ultimate tri-sport, as I think we've patented that name. Rado would argue with me, but I told him what to say when he ran it on his story. But tri-sport is kind of a cool term because we can use it on all three uses, and that's what's fun about these kind of bikes. And EXCs are the old guy's dream bike, and I think this bike, in some ways, to me, feels better than a 500. So I think we just hit a home run here. So thanks a ton for Andrew and Dirt Rider for testing this thing out, and hopefully we'll see you out in the track or trail soon.